It's time for the world's largest single-site golf tournament. We'll tell you all about it coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at Myrtle Beach Golf Holiday. We're focused on the 20th annual DuPont Cool Max World Amateur Handicap Championship, and we're visiting with Frank Monk, a PGA professional and the general manager of River Oaks Golf Plantation, who also serves as the rules co-chair of the tournament. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning. You said a mouthful, Greg.
Big title there, and it sure is a mouthful. Thanks so much for coming in this morning.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Incredible opportunity to think in 100-some hours the tournament will be kicking off, and golfers from all over the world will be in here celebrating an incredible opportunity to be at the down at the big golf course down on the south end for Friday's event.
Right. Yeah, they'll play the final day at the TPC.
At the TPC,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Frank, about yourself, are you originally from the area?
I'm from Concord, NC, small town right outside of Charlotte.
Yeah.
And then attended North Carolina State University and moved here in the early 80s. So
NC State in our in North Carolina capital.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely. Right. What prompted you to move to the area?
Spent most summer vacations in the Myrtle Beach area, as well as the summers in college, living down here, working as a lifeguard, having a great time, and was a golf nut, so moved down here and took up the sport of golf.
When did you get interested in golf as either as a career, but when did you get interested in golf as for fun?
Now, I played all through my childhood and just had an affinity, just loved the game since day one as a 6 or 7 year old, and
wow.
Stuck with it. Yeah.
Now, for kids who pick it up at that early an age, does it mean probably that one parent's real active in golf?
I'd have to say so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And both of my parents were,
mm-hmm.
so that made it easy for me.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about your position at River Oaks Golf Plantation.
I'm the general manager there as of about 3 or 4 months ago, and it's a 27-hole facility, and we're really excited about making some changes there and bringing River Oaks to prominence. It's a great layout, and we're really making some good strides there.
Great. Well, you know, the bulk of our viewers are in the PD or southeastern North Carolina. For folks, and even probably some folks in Horry County, you may not be familiar with River Oaks. Where is it located? Is it pretty easy to get to?
It's very easy to get to. It's right across the Waterway Bridge on 501 as you're heading out of town, mm-hmm. on the right. So a few of the holes border the waterway right there. And once we get all of the highway situation squared away, it'll be easy access from any part of the Myrtle Beach area.
Great. So for viewers who were coming in from the PD, they were just coming down 501, and somehow they'd get off around the Bob Evans
That's exactly
restaurant.
Right. Yep, turn right in there, and it's easy access.
Fantastic, fantastic. What was your first involvement with the DuPont Cool Max tournament?
I began working as a golf professional in town in '86 at Myrtlewood, mm-hmm. and Myrtlewood has been a constant and annual supporter of this event. So mm-hmm. I've been involved with the event since 1986 in some form or fashion.
When did you become a PGA professional, Frank?
It's about a 3 or 4 year process. So it was in the late 80s or so that I became actually a Class A PGA professional.
Okay. Yeah. And for viewers who may not be familiar with that designation, what exactly does that mean, and how does that differentiate you, let's say, from most of the golfers who come to the beach?
Okay. It is, as a golf professional, you've chosen to make it your livelihood, and you receive payment for doing so. And the PGA themselves require you to attend seminars, various classes, to do all sorts of continuing education to acquire the PGA stamp. In other words, they accredit you, and once you're accredited, then you do, again, your continuing education, similar to many other professions that mm-hmm. lawyers, doctors right. have to do the continuing education. So we stay current and work at it constantly.
Absolutely. So in your role as general manager of River Oaks, you also, is there a PGA professional there? Or you're helping out across the board?
Pretty much, yeah. Mm-hmm. I also do the head professional duties as well. So
fantastic.
Quite a challenge.
You are slammed, Frank.
Quite a challenge.
Golly, yes. My Lord. How many? You talked about the association with the Cool Max essentially since '86.
Yeah.
And it's been going. So you were just there a couple of years after it kicked off.
Right. I believe it started in '83, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
If this is the 20th anniversary. So yeah, I was there when it was a little smaller than it is now.
Well, how about some of the changes that have happened over the last 17, 18 years since you've been involved?
Well, all of the changes, as you can well imagine, with the tournament itself, are very similar to the changes with Myrtle Beach that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has grown by leaps and bounds, and with the advent of the computer age, I mean, it's been a growing thing every year, from streamlining to even breakthrough improvements in the tournament. It's been really exciting.
Frank, what are some of the special preparations that you as a golf course or as a golf course manager have to go through to prepare the course for the tournament's arrival on Monday?
Part of that, Greg, is, and me especially as the rules chair for the entire thing, I have to know that every course that is going to be used for the tournament is up to speed, clearly marked as far as hazards go and stuff like that, so that when a rule needs to be interpreted, I'm able to do so knowing that the professional on staff at the various sites have done their due diligence in preparing. So it's a
Golly, Frank, that's a gigantic challenge.
Yeah,
A general manager of River Oaks Golf Plantation. B, in this rules co-chair position. To have to travel around. You're traveling around to the courses to check them out to make sure they're okay, or you're doing a lot of phone calls with the professionals.
A lot of phone calls, and we also meet as a group. We met a couple of weeks ago as a group, so we had roughly 100 professionals and superintendents together to talk about exactly how we would hope things go at each facility so that we do have the continuity. I've been thinking if we have roughly 4,000 participants playing 4 rounds of golf, that's, 1,600 rounds of golf?
16,000. Oh, yeah.
No, you're right, 4,000 times 4, 16,000. And if each golfer plays about 100 strokes, that's about 1.6 million opportunities to break a rule.
That's a great point. 1.6 million opportunities to break a rule.
Yeah. And I believe only 99% of those happen. I think we only get 1.5 million infractions.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's a gigantic commitment on your part, Frank, to think through all the aspects of that and to, A, have to be familiar with all the professionals, know some of their lingo about their own courses, and be able to kind of siphon through all that to figure out what's going on out there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on behind the scenes next week during the tournament, for sure.
We were visiting with a guy who is not going to sleep next week, who's not going to be sleeping. How do you accommodate these players and your regular golfers?
If, for example, we're hosting the event on a day next week, we have an 8:30 a.m. shotgun. We know that they're going to finish their round within 4 hours, right? Everybody who's participating. So we dedicate the golf course just to the participants. Each course hosts roughly 100 golfers each day. And then after play is through at 1:30 or 2 o'clock, we're able to have public play come out. Or, for example, we may not be hosting it on a Monday or Tuesday. Therefore, we can take care of the public play on the days where we're not hosting the event.
Frank, who's your co-chair?
Donald Clement,
Okay.
another young man from this area. He played on the golf team at Coastal Carolina. He's a PGA professional himself, and he has been involved for as many years as I have, I'm sure.
Now, and how long have you served as either the rules chair or active on the rules committee?
To the best of my recollection, Greg, you got to remember this is a volunteer position.
Right.
I don't necessarily have accurate records on it, but I'm going to say 6 or 8 years.
Boy.
Yeah.
So that's 6 to 8 years of a week of non-sleep and folks hounding you all the time. I mean, this is a big deal. As you say, the potential number of infractions could be gigantic.
Yeah.
When are you called on to make a ruling? How does that work exactly? Is it after a round? I mean, when does it happen?
The nutshell version, we try to ask every professional at his site to be as well-versed in the rules so that he can handle it at his course. If it's an extenuating circumstance, we ask him to take rigorous notes and let us know. And every night at the convention center, where all the scorecards are turned in, we have set up a rules room there where we review every rules potential infraction that could have occurred that has been called to the attention of the committee, and we make the decision there every night at the convention center, Monday through Thursday night from 6 until 9 p.m. when the convention center is open for all the golfers.
So while most folks are putting down drinks, you guys are putting down hours just going through all the rules there.
And then dealing with the people who are putting down the drinks.
Yeah, oh, golly.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a lot of fun, though. It really is.
Oh, yeah. And I'm glad you used the key word a couple minutes ago, volunteer. Volunteering for the last 6 to 8 years. I mean, you're volunteering for almost 20 years now, but in this position as a rules chair or co-chair, that's a huge commitment. What do you think makes you come back year after year to volunteer for this tournament? I got to say, Greg, it's almost like any other thing you do for the right reasons. You just feel good about yourself. And it gives me a chance also, if I could elaborate a little bit. I understand, and most of us golf professionals in this town understand, that this is a promotional event for the Myrtle Beach area as much as it is a golf tournament. So we have to play by the rules, but we're also here to make people feel good about coming to Myrtle Beach. So it's just a thing. It makes me feel good dealing with the people. Instead of just rubber stamping the disqualification, we're able to talk them through it, show them that we're not disqualifying them, but the rules of golf are disqualifying them. Right.
And make them feel good and maybe learn from it. Once a competitor is disqualified from this event, if it happened on Monday, he or she is still allowed to play the other 3 days with their pairings and have as good a time as the next guy.
Right.
Their score just won't count at the end of the tournament.
Huh. Well, that's good to know. Absolutely. You do want to make them feel good about their stay in Myrtle Beach, particularly if they've traveled from another country or from California or Oregon or anywhere else. Or either if they've traveled from North Carolina, Raleigh, for instance, or Concord. What about some of the changes you've seen? We've just got a couple of minutes, Frank. Some of the changes you've seen over the years, over the 18 years you've been involved. I know we talked about those earlier, but the changes that really make folks feel good about coming back year after year.
Yeah, we've some of the things, like I say, are the more immediate and concise scoring results that you're able to get. Right. With a crowd this size and scorecards coming in from everywhere, you're able to, with the computers evolving as they have and the people on staff who are manipulating that, can really make it a much more enjoyable event with immediate and up-to-date scoring. The convention center facility has grown by leaps and bounds, as you know. That makes for a nice venue to host the giant cocktail party every night. It's the number of golf courses have just exploded, so the people really get a great variety. We're able to accommodate more golfers, and it's just a great thing.
Absolutely. Frank, lastly, when you think about all the experiences over the last 17, 18 years being involved with the tournament, are there any in particular that really stick out in your mind, in your memory?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Yeah, share them.
It's a great fraternity, shall I say, of golfers doing this thing. I remember as a youngster working at Myrtlewood, where I got my start in the golf business in this town, and I'm on the desk, and we've got an 8:30 shotgun coming, and it's 8:20, and a guy walks in. He says, "I'm ready to play in the tournament," and he's at the wrong course.
Oh, God.
He was supposed to be at XYZ course. His wife had already dropped him off to go to the beach. He's standing there with a golf bag. I didn't know who he was, where he was from, nothing about him, and I reached in my pocket and grabbed my keys and said, "It's the gold Honda car right out there. Get gone. I'll see you when you finish."
No.
And he did.
Wow.
And I still, to this day, don't know what his name was or anything. So it was great. And when you get here, that's the way a lot of the people are playing in the event. It's a great thing. The other one, very quickly, if you don't mind, Greg, was a lady who came to correct her score. She said, "I shot a 90 and you had me up for an 89. I wanted you to know that I shot 90. I already know that it's very likely she's going to be disqualified." When we added up her score hole by hole, it added up to 89. The lady who had kept her score said, "You shot 90, right?" "Yeah, 90, okay." But if you add up the hole by hole, they had actually written a score lower than what she actually scored on one individual hole. And if you sign for that score, you're automatically disqualified. So I had to disqualify her, or the rules of golf disqualified her, but she felt worse for me than I did for her because I felt so bad having to reach that decision.
Those are great memories, Frank. When you think about sitting with a man for 15 minutes who pulled out his keys that first year, that's an amazing commitment to make folks who come to the Myrtle Beach area feel good about their experience of being here. Frank, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Greg. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to Jay McPherson coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome back to Carolina People. This morning we're at Myrtle Beach Golf Holiday. We're focused on the 20th annual DuPont CoolMax World Amateur Handicap Championship, and we're visiting with Jay McPherson, the co-chair for the volunteers. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning, Greg. How
Thanks
are you?
so much for being with us this morning.
Glad to be here.
Incredible opportunity all week to highlight so much of what's happening, just kicking off about 100 hours from now. The golfers will be rolling into town over the weekend and registering at the convention center on Sunday. Will you all be out there on Sunday?
Oh, yes. And actually, we're going to be starting this next Thursday in preparation for the Sunday registration, because that's the big day for us, with some 900 golfers coming in that day to pick up their registration kits. So we get together on Thursday, the week before, and we put the kits together and have them all ready for them when they arrive on Sunday.
Great. How exciting. So tomorrow you all will be getting together. That's amazing. How many years have you volunteered to work for the DuPont CoolMax World Amateur?
Well, this will be my 15th year. Yes. And there's quite a few, truthfully, when you take a look at it, our total number of participants, the volunteers, which number approximately 70. We have about 25% of those people that have got 15 years or more with the tournament.
That's amazing. 25% of that's so almost 20 that have been committed at least 15 years.
That's true. And then if you were to probably take a count on the 10 years and more, probably 50% of them have been with us for 10 years or more.
Why do you think folks keep putting on their calendar as an event that they need to volunteer?
Well, I think for many reasons. One thing, they look forward to it every year because it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun just to get together with the same people every year and work the tournament. It's a lot of fun to see the participants come in because, they're here to have a good time. They're going to play golf, and in the evening time they're going to be entertained and have free food and drinks at the convention center. And working with Golf Holiday and the tournament director, Steve Mays, and his staff, it's a lot of fun too. So the people look forward to it from year to year, and we have no problem with volunteers.
That is fantastic. Jay, about yourself, were you originally from the area?
No, I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I grew up there, went to school, college, and then later on moved to New Jersey. And prior to retiring and moving down here, that's where I lived for about 20 years. Okay,
what brought you to the area? Just retirement?
Well, yeah, and while I lived in New Jersey, used to come down here for golf. With 2 or 3 other fellows, we'd come down for a week of golf every year, and got to know the area. Then when retirement was approaching, they had some areas being built around here with golf courses, and truthfully at that time moved into Myrtle Beach Golf and Yacht and lived there.
Great. Do you have family with you here in the area, Jay?
Yes, my wife, and I have one daughter who came down from New Jersey after we moved down here, and her family, and then another daughter in Delaware.
Okay. Had you ever been active in tournaments outside of the area, for instance, growing up or in New Jersey or otherwise?
No, not really. This was my first opportunity to be involved, and after getting involved with this tournament, then when the LPGA was here and the seniors were here, or the Canadian tournaments, you get involved with them, and you see a lot of the same people volunteering for those too, as we have for our tournament.
What was your first introduction to the World Amateur?
Well, it was through people that lived at Myrtle Beach Golf and Yacht. In fact, the co-chairman, Al Dory, and his wife were involved with it at the time, and they mentioned it to me, and then I got involved, and here we are 15 years later.
That is fantastic. What are some of the jobs that volunteers will be doing next week during the tournament?
Well, the main thing is that on Thursday we'll put together player kits. And the player kits amount to the list of where they're going to be playing, their handicaps, their name tags, their bag tags, and different things like that. Then on Sunday, they all come in to register where they'll pick up their player kits and then go back into the main ballroom, pick up what we call the goodies. And that is that they'll get their hat, their shirt, golf balls, different items such as that. And so our volunteers man all these areas. Then during the week, we don't work on the golf courses per se, but we work at the convention center on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 6 to 9 when the golfers come in to partake of the food and the drink and the entertainment and the exhibit booths and different things like that. And then on Friday is the playoff, and that's at the TPC course. So our volunteers there will act as scorers and also greens reporters on that day.
So your volunteers are truly involved in the entire program.
Yes, they are.
From soup to nuts. That's amazing. Well, Al's coming in tomorrow to talk a little bit, so it's exciting to think, and we'll hear a little more from him. How long have you served as co-chair for the volunteers?
Well, Al and I took over about 5 or 6 years ago. Going way back, I think when I first started, Joan O'Donnell was chairman, and then it started to grow, and she branched off into some other activities, and a George and Betty Lovenstein took over. But then he had a health problem, and we were working with him at the time, and he wasn't able to continue as the chairman. So Al and myself, we took over in about 6 years ago.
That's great. Jay, how many volunteers does it take to keep the tournament running?
Well, we have about 70 volunteers, and truthfully, they range in age from the 50s up into the 80s. And like I say, there's very little turnover. In the past year or so, we've had maybe 3 or 4 people that have dropped out. But probably after you look back 5, 6 years, we may have only had 7 people that we had to replace. It's just that small.
That is fantastic. You've been able to keep that good tight-knit group and maintain those relationships. Do you all ever get together other parts of the year to highlight what's coming up in late August?
Well, we as the co-chair get together with the staff at Golf Holiday in March, and we prepare the letters to go out to the volunteers. At that time, we ask them what days they want to work, what types of jobs they want to work, because during the week in the convention center, we'll have anything from jobs on manning turnstiles, games, will call booths, even working up in the staff with the staff upstairs on scoring and different complaints that the golfers may have as to their handicaps and the scoring situation.
Jay, does your wife participate as a volunteer as well?
Yeah, she's a volunteer as well. And just like Al, Dory's wife, she's been a volunteer all these years too. And we have a lot of husband and wife teams that have volunteered through the years.
Why do you think you all volunteer to do this? I mean, this is a big commitment. It takes a whole week out of your life, a lot more than a week preparing for and then phasing down afterwards, talking about how you're going to make it better next year if there are any changes that need to be made. This is a big, big commitment.
Yeah, well, as I say, the fun of it every year, and again, the people that you work with as well. And the thing is that with this tournament type deal, you don't have as many as you'd have on a LPGA because they have to man areas out on the golf course. But to volunteer for an LPGA or senior tournament, you have to pay money, whereas the DuPont, there's no payment on the part of the volunteers, and DuPont will supply them with a hat, a shirt, and shorts for the tournament. And then at the end of the tournament, we usually have some kind of a dinner dance or get-together. Last year it was a free ticket to the Alabama Theater to see their big show one up there. And we try to vary it from year to year so we don't do the same thing every year. But it's the people look forward to it. It's an opportunity to get together and share. So
I'm sure. Do you ever think while you're out there, while you're volunteering at the convention center or even on Friday at the championship, I could be out here doing this. I should be out here. I could be winning this thing.
Well, I'm not that good a golfer.
I don't think it matters on this.
No, but it's a lot of fun.
Right.
And that's basically why we get so many participants. We get the low handicappers all the way up to the 30 plus handicappers there. Mm-hmm. And the main thing is they come for a good time, and if they're lucky enough to get into the final playoff on Friday, then they really enjoy it, and whether they win or not, they just know that they won their flight and participated, so they look forward to that too.
Absolutely. Jay, what do you see as the primary change that's occurred over the 15 years plus that you've been involved?
Well, when I started with it, we were in the old convention center that was very small, and the numbers of participants were small as well. So it was a much smaller type deal, a lot fewer vendors that were checking in to show their products and so on and so forth. So the thing has grown tremendously in the past few years. Mm-hmm. And as they say, we've had a number of repeat people from year to year to come back and enjoy Myrtle Beach and the golfing here too. So the main thing is the size of this whole operation. And Golf Holiday has been able to expand, and the local golf courses are great as far as participating and handling all these golfers. When you figure, 3,000 to 4,000, 5,000 a couple of years ago. So it's very good.
The size has grown dramatically over the 15 years that Jay's been involved, over the 20 years plus that so many folks have been out here cheering on so many of the amateurs who are making this an amazing event, and the camaraderie and friendship is surely what inspires Jay and Al and so many other volunteers to stick it out. Jay, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. We want to thank Frank Monk and Jay McPherson for making today's Carolina People such a great success.